What's up, everybody, and welcome back to A Beer a Day with TK. It's a nice, somewhat warm evening here. It's a little cooler than expected, so I'm a little happy with it. What about you?
It's pleasantly cool after the last 2 days of heat wave, and the humidity is not as bad as it has been either. I no longer feel like I'm breathing underwater.
It's still hot, though, bro. It's still hot. But we're holding it down, hanging out in the beer shed, getting ready to check out a few new beers after a long day of moving and working in the heat. Time to relax and have a few refreshments. The beer that we have today is called Brexit. And this is an extra special bitter, ESB. And this is from the Olentangy River. Damn it, I said it wrong again.
You did say it wrong again.
Olentangy River Brewing Company. And they're out of Lewis Center, Ohio. So on the way back from Columbus, we stopped in this brewery. Fortunately, we weren't in the tip-top shape. So we only had one beer there, but we did manage to pick this up. And it's kind of an interesting beer, obviously. One, I like the style. ESBs are a really cool style of beer. Criminally underrated, as well as a number of others. I talk about, maybe Reds, Kolsch's. People kind of overlook these beers. ESBs is another one. I think they're overlooked. You don't see a whole heck of a lot of them. Anderson spotted this up on the counter and immediately jumped on it.
Yeah, because like you said, you don't see a whole lot of ESBs or bitters, especially not in America. And so this was definitely something that would be different compared to the normal beers that you find.
Mm-hmm. And you throw in the Brexit tie-in, quite interesting. I think the guy said there's only 3 or 4 left when we purchased this, so...
I wonder what their tie-in is with the brewery.
I know, someone's got to be British or from the EU or something, because it's kind of interesting.
Or if it's just because ESBs are kind of an English thing, maybe...
Yeah, Brexit's leaving extra the bitter, and the bitter aspect of it. Maybe someone's bitter they're leaving, or who knows, right?
Who knows?
Who knows what it is. But it's kind of interesting for me. I remember I actually flew from Detroit to London Heathrow. It was basically the day they voted to leave the EU, I was on the flight, and I guess, during the night they're going to tabulate the votes and figure out what was the results. And I can remember waiting by the bathroom. If you've ever been on a longer international flight, this was where the bathroom, you kind of go downstairs, but there's, I don't know, maybe like 6 of them.
What are you, bougie, sitting there in first class?
No way, dude. I was in the poor people seats. That's why I had to wait in line. Like on the Titanic, dude. I was with the steerage passengers.
What poor people class are you in where you're upstairs and have to go downstairs?
No, the bathroom is downstairs. It wasn't no downstairs
I've never been...
No, I know that bubble. I've never been on the bubble on a plane. I don't have that going on. I was going over to, I think I was going, no, I wasn't going to Kosovo. I was going just to England. I think I was going over to visit my uncles. But I was on the flight, and while you're kind of like milling about, people are stretching their legs. I heard the stewardesses talking, and, I knew the Brexit referendum was up or whatever, and they actually told me on the flight that it had passed. So I guess word had come through the cockpit, and they, passed it on to the customers. And I was shocked, honestly. I'm fortunate. I hold multiple citizenships. I'm an Irish citizen, American, obviously, and British. So, there's some, I don't know, some part of me was kind of surprised. I'm not going to say that I was for or against it. I don't really have a horse in the race. I live in the U.S. It's their business. But I was surprised, honestly. I didn't think that vote would happen, and it did. Now, it took several years for it to come to fruition, obviously. But it was an interesting kind of, interesting moment in time. Something that I won't forget. So this beer is, I don't know, maybe reminds me of that a little bit.
I wonder if Brexit will open up more beers to them, because now they can just make their own rules of what they're allowed to import and export.
Well, I mean, depending on what you've read over the years, I know there have been some problems with EU and EU regulations with beers, right? So in Germany, for example, you had the Reinheitsgebot, right? It says you have to have certain ingredients in beer, and I thought stuff I'd read said EU law kind of trampled that you could bring in whatever you want. So I don't know what effect it will have, right? I mean, maybe they'll ship less beers, or the Brits will ship more over here instead of some to the continent. I mean, who knows? It'd be interesting to see how it plays out.
It would be nice. But before you start to read that bottle, as you mentioned in the beginning, we did stop at this brewery. Do you remember what beer you had at the brewery?
I did. I had the Whetstone Lager. It was the very first one on the list. I thought I was going to pass out because I was so overheated. My glasses were bugging me. These are new glasses. I finally got my new glasses, but they're giving me a headache. So I just ordered the first beer. It was cool. You can't go wrong with a nice lager. I liked it, but that was what I had. What you had some kind of weirdness.
I had it's either Olentangy or Olentangy, because it's O-L-N space T-A-N-G-Y. cucumber.
Ah, Christ, there's
And it
a
was
spider dropping through here, my friend.
I hope it crawls on your foot while we're doing this.
I do
And
not.
it was a cucumber sour, like reminiscent of pickle juice, but it was very tasty, and it was the kind of beer I needed after being brutalized by the heat and the humidity, pushing all this furniture and whatnots around the block.
Yeah. Up to my daughter's apartment. So Anderson came through and helped me move the stuff to my daughter's apartment.
Because
so.
you guys chose the hottest day of the year to do so.
I know, man. We have terrible luck when it comes to this. It was not a good day to move. This bottle's kind of interesting. So obviously we have ESB Extra Special Bitter, IBUs 37, 5.4 ABV. But what is kind of cool on the side here, it says an ESB so crisp it'll make you forget the EU exists. English hops and malts, earthy and herbal with a slight bitterness. So, you ready?
Yeah, I think it's about time we open this up.
Word on that. Please don't go everywhere. All right.
Well, that was nice. I was hoping it would overflow all over your lap, but I suppose this style of beer shouldn't be exploding when you open it.
Man, I don't know. I've been having some weird beers lately. Stuff's exploding. I wouldn't think would. Knobhead pour for me. Yet again.
Well, a lot of these beers are unfiltered, unpasteurized, so that they still have their live yeast.
Well, you know you run into the problem. Like you try to pour it a little vigorously so you can get some head. But then, you don't really know what the heck you're going to get, do you? Go all Forrest Gump box of chocolate on people.
Did you do that terrible...
I don't think I did. I think it's actually spot on. The head is terrible, but the measurement is pretty
close.
Spot on. It's the old
It's
eagle
close
eye.
enough.
The old eagle eye here, my friend. That's right.
Well, that is a very frothy...
I like the look of that head. Now
Well,
let's see.
head.
Let's go with the color here. So color, if I'm looking on my SRM chart, and this is from Brew HQ, what do you think there? Maybe like a 20? 20 would be brown. Maybe 21-ish.
I was going to go with 19, but...
Where are you? Yeah, around here. Amber brown. We'll go with that. Right? Amber brown. Head. I had a nice one, probably going on 2 fingers.
Like I said, it's a frothy head, and it actually is sticking around.
I like it when it does the chunky islands kind of thing, man. Color, it kind of looks like a little bit of a tannish color to it. I don't think it's pure white.
No, it's definitely not pure white.
It's kind of like got a little bit of color to it. It looks nice. Let's give it a sniff. Maybe a little bit of malt.
I was going to say a little bit of malt.
Toasted malt.
But again, this is a very light smell. I mean, it's a very subtle smell.
Maybe a little bit of toffee or something.
I just smell the malt.
Yeah, not bad. Let's give it a shot. Cheers. Lighter than I had expected. I think it's kind of medium light.
With a nice malt backbone in it.
Yeah.
And some hop bitterness on the end.
Toasted malt bitterness. You definitely pick up a little bit of hops at the end. It's not overpowering. It's not dominant.
No.
To be honest, most of the ESBs I've had, or in England, tend to be, I think, more bitter than this. And this is where it's kind of strange. I mean, obviously the hops contribute to the bitterness, but I don't think this is quite bitter enough. I don't think it's bad, but I would have liked it to be maybe a little bit more bitter.
A little more bitter.
Yeah, that would, for me at least. I mean, if it's going to be kind of true to style, I would like a tiny bit more bitterness. And again, I'm not an IPA dude. I'm not a huge hop head, but I would have liked a little more bitterness.
It is nice though.
Yeah, I mean, you pick up maybe like a tiny bit of like the toffee thing, maybe a little bit of a roasted malt, and then a little bit of the bitterness. All in all, not a bad beer at all. I mean, it's a solid beer.
It's well balanced, actually. It's very well balanced.
Yeah, my only criticism would have been I would have liked it slightly more bitter. But other than that, I think it's a pretty decent beer.
I think this is more of a bitter than an ESB.
Yeah. I mean,
I know that's a weird...
You're kind of, you're splitting hairs. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're splitting hairs to an extent. But I mean, I guess you got to make beers to palate too, right? I mean, this is kind of like you talk about, go to Chinese restaurants, right? So I go to Chinese restaurants in Kosovo, I've been to Chinese restaurants in the UK, I've been to Chinese restaurants here, and all the food's different, right? Because what you're doing
Right.
is catering to the palates of your audience, essentially. So I think this might be like slightly different than what you'd expect, but I don't think it's bad by any stretch of the imagination.
No, it's not bad
I
at
like
all.
it. I think it's a good beer. Just slightly different from what I had expected. So, that's all I really think about it. So all in all, for me, Brexit, ESB, Olentangy River Brewing.
You did it that time.
Got it right this time. You would get a thumbs up. I would drink another one of these. What about you?
I would absolutely drink another one of these, although I don't know that we'd ever be able to get one again.
No, we won't. I think they said there was 4. We got 1. There's 3 left. I don't know. Maybe we drive back. We'll see what happens. So if you liked the video, please give us a thumbs up. Hit that like button. If you want to see more videos like this, please hit subscribe. And as always, you got any comments or questions? Jump in down below. Have you been to the Olentangy River Brewing Company? If so, let us know what you think. Like I said, we only got to have 1 beer each there and pick this one up because we were
Such a brutal day.
decimated by the sun, unfortunately, and
Burnt by the sun.
we're best served working in a salt mine apparently, and not out in the elements there. But I'd like to know what other beers they had that are good. I definitely will visit next time we run down to Columbus. So,
We were definitely night people.
yes, we are, and cold weather people. We built for this heat, my brother. All right, till next time.
Cheers.